All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. Right here, we're actually live with a phenomenal artist, producer, songwriter. This individual is a jack of all trades within the punk rock community. We got YOUTHYEAR right here live on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, the 99.9 FM dial right here in Prescott, Ontario. How are you doing this evening, man?
What's up, brother? I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, man, doing best I can possibly be down here in Canada, man. Just dealing with that really crummy freaking hot weather, man. But I gotta say, it's definitely better than the snow. So bring on the summer. Looking forward to the beach.
Yeah, same. Nashville is brutal right now, and we haven't even seen the worst of it. Once July hits, it's gonna be rough. Shit's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I got a buddy I got a buddy that's a hip hop artist down there in Nashville named Smurf, man, and he actually is telling me about how hot it is out there. He's like, man, you're complaining about Canada summer. He's like, come over to Nashville, bro. Like, your skin will start melting.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even go outside in July. I barely, unless it's like to swim. It's like you're exhausted just walking like 5 feet to your car. It's that hot.
But I know you're a busy guy, so of course, man, I'm not gonna keep you away from your busy stuff too long. But I gotta take you back to the beginning, man, of your amazing career within the music industry this far. And I gotta ask, man, what inspired you and sparked your career within the music industry? Because you were honestly a jack of all trades.
Oh man, so I mean, I started my first band when I was about 12 years old. Probably started playing guitar at like 10. The first thing, I mean, dude, we started a pop punk band and, covered Green Day, Blink-182. We covered Lit, My Own Worst Enemy. And I took it as far as I could with those guys. We took it all over. Like we recorded our own records, put them out ourselves, pressed them ourselves in high school. And then out of high school, we toured. I booked our tours. We got in a Chevy Blazer and a trailer and just like pressed our CDs, went to malls, sold CDs, played shows. We at one point we started working with some producers who kind of got me into the idea of songwriting and production. We were just doing everything DIY, and then I started working with these guys who had a hit song. They had been through they knew how the industry worked a bit, and they kind of were like, oh yeah, man, you're a songwriter. Like you're like who? First they were like, who's writing the songs in your band? And I was like, oh, me. And they're like, yeah, you're a songwriter. Like and then I started kind of collaborating with them and learned kind of just by watching what producers do. And I kind of realized like I had been producing in my band. I just didn't know it. Growing up, I mean, just by being like, hey, why don't you try this part? Or why don't you do this? Or like, let's make the beat do this. I didn't know that was production, getting in the room and kind of just orchestrating the whole thing. So I kind of had that background just from just doing it ourselves as kids and playing punk shows, putting on our own shows, booking our own tours, doing that whole thing. And then flash forward, we ended up getting a small publishing deal. We got to play with, I mean, we had seen it a lot. We played with like My Chemical Romance, Panic at the Disco. We even opened for the Misfits. When the Misfits did this tour, it was like Des from Black Flag, Marky Ramone on drums, Jerry Only on bass, and they did Misfit songs, Black Flag songs, and Ramone songs. It was awesome. But we played the 1975, Panic at the Disco. Got to see and play with a lot of cool bands, make a lot of good friends. And then that band, we broke up. It was just, we kind of took it as far as we could. And I was like, all right, well, what's next? I've got all these tools. I kind of was like, I'd been with these guys. They were my best friends. And I'd been with them for so long. I didn't really know what to do. I wanted to kind of refine my voice. So I got more into songwriting. I started taking trips out to New York City. I was living in Massachusetts at the time. So New York City was like a 3-hour bus ride. So I would take the bus into New York, started kind of networking and hanging out. And then I started playing shows down there and kind of getting in writing sessions. And I had my first cut with this artist named Kulik, who ironically now lives across. He's my neighbor. He lives across the street from me. It's really weird, full circle thing. But I ended up writing his first single with my good friend Carlo, who I actually collaborate with everything on, and he actually produced the Lit record with me. But we had our first cut with Kulik. It came out on RCA Records. I think it was like 2018. And it was like, it did well. I mean, it charted on mainstream radio, on the rock charts, Billboard rock charts. It got in like the top 40. And then we got on the World Cup. Like, that was kind of my first, like, my first thing into like my first cut as a writer. And then I don't know, man, a lot has happened. I tried a lot of different projects, and they all kind of just didn't seem, it was like false starts, we'd kind of get things moving. It didn't work out. And flash forward, moved to Nashville, and in 2020, a big year for starting over for a lot of people. And I got pulled into making the Lit record in 2020, and that was the same year I decided to start YOUTHYEAR. My real name's Eric, by the way, but start to make the project YOUTHYEAR, and I've kind of been in that world ever since.
And going back to when you actually had the opportunity to open for My Chemical Romance, I actually had that in the question list here. And I was wondering, man, did you actually get the opportunity to actually meet any of the members of Chemical Romance before or after your guys' performance, man? Because especially just, that's actually an amazing accomplishment, and being able to open up for that, a band of that caliber.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they weren't even that big. Well, I mean, I was really young and like barely in high school, and they were still touring in a van and a trailer. And we had booked them. My friend Jeremy, who's literally still booking shows today, and he's booked me a show in Massachusetts. I'm flying to Massachusetts in a couple weeks to play a show that he booked. He booked them at a skate park. We had like a teen center. It was like it used to be an old church. They took out all the pews, and we would throw shows in there all the time. And they came from New Jersey and played. And yeah, we got to, I mean, it was like, they're really sweet guys, nice guys. Hey, what's up? And they did their thing.
And also, going back to when you actually mentioned Carlo, you actually are, of course, partnered up and are good friends with him of Shinedown as well. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that business relationship. And of course, what is it like actually as being able to work alongside Carlo of Shinedown?
So Carlo's not actually in Shinedown.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But he co-wrote their song called State of My Head. And it was a #1 hit for them. So he co-wrote a song that they put out, I think, around a few years ago, but it was like the biggest song of that year on the rock charts. And we were already working together at that point. And we've been, I collaborate with a lot of different writers, and Carlo collaborates with even more writers than I do. He came from the same background as me, playing in bands. So we kind of have that. We had a very organic chemistry right from the start. So we literally just we started working together, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, and we just never stopped. And Carlo, we did the Lit record together too. We produced that with Lit. We co-produced it. We co-wrote all the songs together with them.
And also, as well, on June 4th of 2021, on Shark Cage Records, you actually released a single titled You Belong With Me. I was wondering if you can actually tell us the story and inspiration behind this amazing single. And of course, is it actually still circulating the net to be streamed or purchased today in 2023?
Yes. Well, so I didn't write it. It's a cover song. It's a Taylor Swift song, actually. And so the two, so You Belong With Me and Stay are both covers, and All Too Well are all 3 cover songs. The first song I've actually released that is something that I wrote of my own is that collab that just came out last month with Sam Sinez, called Remember This. But yeah, You Belong With Me is streaming everywhere. You can stream it everywhere. You can download it anywhere. And yeah, my first actual single, because this is a fairly new project as an artist. I kind of did another restart in 2020, like I said before, and I've been kind of building up to this point where I'm like, all right, now it's time to start releasing music, which we're pretty much there, man. It's like Carlo and I have also, he wrote all the songs for me for this, for all the songs that I'm about to be putting out we have done together. But
And also as well, man, on June 17th of 2022, I know you spoke about this throughout the interview briefly, but you were actually the producer for iconic the newest album for Lit. I was wondering if you could actually tell our viewers a story just behind this whole ordeal. And of course, what was it like actually working alongside AJ and the rest of Lit in the studio for this amazing album?
Oh man, dude, it was awesome. I mean, I grew up a Lit fan. So it was like a full circle moment. I covered Lit at my first show when I was 12 or 13 years old. So flash forward however many years later, getting pulled into a writing session with them was like pretty cool. It was awesome. And it was one of those things where like they were really down to earth, and they just felt like any normal band dude that I would have played music with growing up, or just anyone I would meet that's just a down to earth, cool human being. We became fast friends, all of us. And yeah, I'm trying to think of a cool specific story. I mean, we there's so many. I mean, we spent about a year and a half making that record. We bounced between we started it in the height of the pandemic in 2020, kind of this summer, where things were still pretty restricted. So a lot of those first writing sessions, we were writing songs outside. We were meeting up in the courtyard of Carlo's apartment, or at in the guys' backyards at their houses, and just writing on acoustics. I'd come in with a track idea. I'd play it over a Bluetooth speaker, and we'd write over that. But it was a really fun, really creative period. I'm trying to think of some fun stories that. Oh, man.
And it must have been a surreal moment as well, man. Just actually, because you said growing up, you were a Lit fan. You played their music in like talent shows, and then you kind of grew up as an adult, actually working on their newest album and being like just in their backyards, man, like at their homes. It must have been such a surreal experience,
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, like, so I didn't even have time to think about it. So I literally just moved to town, and Carlo had a session with them, and he texted me and was like, "Hey, I played Lit some of the ideas that we did, and they really like them. Do you want to write with them?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "No, like right now." And I was like at TJ Maxx buying. I don't know if you guys have TJ Maxx in Canada, but
I don't think we do know.
It's like I don't know. It's like I was buying pillows, because we just moved in. So I was like, "Shit, well, yeah, like let me get over there." So I went, grabbed the cold brew, and shot over there. So I had no time to like be in my head or be nervous about it. And then as soon as we started working together, that kind of, it was a little surreal, because like, the first, we didn't even write. Half the writing sessions were just hanging out being like, what was this like in the 90s? What was this like in the 90s? Like, what was it like playing on MTV? What was like, we kind of just got to hang out and hear all the fun stories. And it quickly didn't like it was surreal, but it was also like, these guys are cool, down to earth band guys. Like, it didn't feel, we all kind of clicked pretty quickly. And I think if we didn't click, we wouldn't have been able to make a record for over a year and a half. I mean, and it didn't start off like, hey, you guys are producing the record. We just started writing songs. We just started making songs. We wrote one song, and they were like, they loved it. So we're like, let's do another. So we did another, and then we did another, and we did another. And then next thing you know, we have half an album done, and they're like, hey, do you guys want to produce the whole record with us? And we're like, hell yeah, we do. Let's do it. So we finished it out. But
yeah, I can definitely agree with what you're saying as well, man. AJ is definitely a super nice individual, man. When I booked him for an interview, I still couldn't believe it happened. I always throw just, like Hail Mary passes, like hit up the DM, and then he responded back with, let's do it. I was like, wait, what did you just say? I was like, wait, what? I was like, but I was like, hey man, if they're gonna say yes, definitely roll with it. So definitely shout out to AJ, man. Such a phenomenal individual.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But also as well, man, aside from actually other people's projects, I also read that you are actually working on your own up and coming debut EP as well. And of course, obviously, it's currently in the works. Nothing is released yet. So from what you are allowed to speak about, what can our viewers actually expect from this up and coming YOUTHYEAR EP?
I mean, it's influenced by the stuff that I grew up on. So a lot of 90s rock, early 2000s rock. But it's also got like, it can hold up with the current climate of music now too. Like I've being a producer like myself and making beats on my laptop, there's a lot of hip hop influence. There's a lot of like Weezer, grunge influence, pop punk. It's all over the place, but still cohesive at the same time. But I mean, and lyrically and stuff, it's really kind of like, you know, I'm sober now. I've been sober for quite some time, but a lot of it is from the perspective of when I was still out there, kind of living like a degenerate and kind of fucking my life up. So a lot of that perspective is still in that kind of like, oh, I think I might have a problem type thing. So there's a lot of that in the lyrics. There's a lot of that self-destruction, self-sabotage. There's some breakup songs. There's also just like that youthful kind of well, my first single that's coming out is called Basement, and we're gearing up for that release right now. We're about to drop the pre-save link and start getting the wheels turning for that one. And that's kind of like a, I don't know, kind of just captures the, you know, is it about love or is it about drugs kind of feeling. It's drug, sex, rock and roll, and kind of this feeling of like desperation, obsession. It's a lot of things wrapped into a song, you know.
And also as well, man, on July 6th of 2023, so literally in just mere days, you'll be performing an acoustic set at the 12 Weeks Notice Brewing Company out there in West Springfield, Massachusetts. I was wondering, what can our viewers actually expect from this up-and-coming Youth Year performance? And of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some last-minute tickets?
So I have a ticket link in my bio of any of my social media. If you go in my bio, there is always a link that has just, it'll say tour dates. And yeah, there's a ticket link right in there. So I have that show. I'm flying out to Massachusetts next weekend, and I'm playing an acoustic set. And that's where I grew up. So it'll be a fun time. I'm going to play songs from my old band, and I'm also going to play a lot of songs off the upcoming EP. And if you go see me live anywhere, I'm playing all this shit live, even though it's not out yet. I've been testing it out live for a while now. And I just played a show in Nashville and played all the songs. But right now, yeah, on the books, we have Massachusetts, and then I'm playing in San Diego, California. It's a little bit ways out, but October 28th, it's a Halloween show with this band called Death Cab for Karaoke. And they do like a lot of pop punk, emo rock covers. They have a huge following on the West Coast. There'll probably be like 700 people there, which is great for an artist of my size. I don't have any music out. So it's like, or except for that first single I was telling you about with Sam Tenez, Remember This. But for an artist of my size, playing in front of 700 people, I'm going to take it. So I'm really stoked to do that and hang out. And they're performing Blink-182's self-titled album in its entirety that night. So I love that record. So I'm just stoked to be in the crowd for that.
And also as well, man, especially to San Diego, period, man. You know, aside from being the hometown of Blink-182 and many of their bands, it really is the like pop punk capital, in my honest opinion, the Mecca. You know what I mean? When you think pop punk, you think California. When you hear punk rock, you think California, man. So that is definitely the right place, in my honest opinion, for you to actually get some shows, man. So I gotta say, definitely enjoy the California weather, especially in October.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. California weather is amazing any time of year, so I'll take it.
But also, man, aside from this show coming up in a few days in Springfield, and of course the up and coming EP that you're currently working on, what is next for yourself, Youth Year, man? Is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? We still got you here live on the air.
I'm working with an artist called Lunel. And she's about to drop her first single. She's actually my fiance. But she's about to be dropping her first single. I'm hoping either end of summer, beginning of fall as well. So we've been developing her project for quite some time now, and it's really cool. It's kind of like alternative rock, indie pop kind of stuff. And then I mean, I've kind of been, as soon as we finish that Lit record, I've worked with a few other artists like Chad Tepper and Sam Tenez, and I'm always doing writing sessions in town in Nashville and working with artists here. I worked with an artist named Reese Young, who's a friend of mine, who's just signed a record deal, and he's putting out a bunch of music. He just did that a big festival with Blink-182 and a bunch of different artists. You should check him out. Reese Young is his name. But yeah, besides just the normal producing and working with other bands, I've just been laser focused on getting my music out. And there's a lot of hoops I got to jump through to get it there, but I'm really excited and really like just focused on doing that because I've been on this other side for a while, working with other artists and producing other artists' music, and I fucking love it. But if I don't push my stuff through to the front, it's not going to come out. So I'm like, that's where my head's at. And then also besides music, I'm an artist. I just love to paint and draw, and I've started a leather jacket company where I paint on leather jackets, and I just launched it about a month and a half ago. Even though I've been selling them for a while, I just like made it kind of official. So I've been like that's kind of what I do in between as well. I just made a jacket for this guy. His name's Joe Copeland. Joko, we call him down here. He does books a lot of shows in Nashville, but he plays in a band called the Pink Spiders. And they did Warped Tour years ago, and they've been around for a bit. But they're going on tour with Everclear coming up, and he had me make him a pink leather jacket with a giant black spider on it. But I can show you. I mean, have this one. We're literally in my studio, but this is what I'm working on right now. If you can see that.
That's gnarly, man. I love it.
Yeah. I've got a bunch in here. Let me see if I can just turn the thing to show you real quick. But this is like part of my whole little setup. These are all like jackets in the works that I've made. I made like a Rancid tribute one on the left. And yeah, so that's like honestly just like focusing on my art and focusing on my music is on this YouthYEAR stuff is where it's at for me. Because yes, I'm going to put out an EP, but with the way that people consume music now and the way that the amount of music people put out, it's like I want to be steps ahead. So like I'm just finishing songs and just like, because once we start rolling this stuff out, I want to be able to just put out music constantly, you know.
And also as well, because obviously I know how to follow you on social media, but for the individuals that might just be discovering YouthYEAR right now, or there might not be that social media savvy, how do they go about following you not only on Instagram, but also Twitter, Facebook, and any other social media platform that you currently are actually on? That way they can stay updated on everything you actually have going on.
So, I mean, if you just Google YouthYEAR, you can pretty much see me pop up and stuff, but at I am YouthYEAR is the Twitter, the TikTok, the Instagram, and then if you just search YouthYEAR on YouTube, you'll find me. If you search YouthYEAR on Facebook, you'll find me. So I'm pretty easy to find. And if you find one of those, you can find all of those. I always have a link in one of the bios that has all my stuff in it.
And I got to say, first and foremost, Eric, thank you so much, man, for giving not only myself, but the radio station airwaves. It's just a bit of your time here this evening, man. It was such an honor to speak with you about your come up within the punk rock community. And of course, everything you've done from the beginning to now. And of course, everything that's to come, man. I'm super stoked just to see and hear this album when it does drop to the general public, man. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm pretty sure we definitely shall talk again soon.
Definitely, man. And hey, I can give you a little sneak preview too. If you, we'll message after, but I'll send you an email with the track. If you keep it between us,
hey, man. Honestly, again,
email.
if you send the email after I listen to it, it will be like Mission Impossible. This message will self-destruct.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I'd like
but
to.
Yeah, but definitely, man. I'll definitely message you after, and I'll shoot you my email as well, man. That way you have it. But again, thank you so much, Eric, and we definitely shall talk again soon.
Yeah, man. It's been awesome. Thanks for prepping all the questions, and it's been cool hanging out.
Hey, man, you're most certainly welcome, and likewise as well, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good, brother.